Hey guys, Raya here. I've always been interested in visiting the East Coast and seeing some of the places my favorite movies and shows have been filmed at or based on. We planned a trip for this spring to see all the sights. Watch as we give it a try. We decided to do a big trip this year to celebrate my 30th birthday early, and we started in New York City. The biggest bummer about flights to the East Coast is the time difference and losing out on a few hours. But it was pretty cool to come into the Big Apple at night and see all the lights. We headed to Times Square to check it out at night, and there were some crazy costumes all around, as well as signs warning about pickpockets. Welcome to New York! We stayed at the Hen Na Hotel, which had this crazy animatronic dinosaur in the lobby. Our room was really nice. It had lots of space for all our stuff, this crazy techie closet, and a nice bathroom with a bidet. It also had a large desk for us to spread out our work from home and fun tech setups. Our first real day started with the classic New York bagel, some tasty sandwiches and spreads. Then we headed to the Empire State Building to see the city from the sky. There were lots of cool displays before heading up, including these telescopes to show reenactments of the time it was being built. As well as a TV display with all the movies and shows that have featured the Empire State Building. The elevator up was a bit nauseating, since it went pretty fast. We stopped for some mini donuts in the lobby higher up, which were pretty tasty, and it was fun to watch them being made. Then we checked out the sights. It was crazy to be so high up, and it was a pretty clear day, so it was a great view. Then we headed up to the higher observation deck, and it was wild to see the tiny cars and people from so high up. We eventually headed down and back to the hotel for a bit. Once we were ready for lunch, we went out to get a street hot dog, which was pretty basic but fun to try. Then we took the subway out to the Staten Island Ferry for a sunset ride. It was really cool to see the city from the water, as well as the Statue of Liberty. The water was pretty gross, but the views were unbeatable. We grabbed a fruit cup from the vendors outside the port and then headed to take the subway to the Brooklyn Bridge. It was really pretty along the walk, even though it was crazy busy. We checked out a street performer in the subway on the way back to the hotel and grabbed a pizza to end the night, which was really tasty. The next day we headed to Central Park for a nice quiet morning. It was pretty busy, but the park is huge, so there's plenty of space. There were lots of buskers here as well, and we made time for the Balto statue and a pretzel dog. Then we headed out to the 9/11 Memorial. This was a truly humbling experience, and there was a very solemn energy, both outside and in the museum itself. I would recommend everyone go to this and take a moment to remember. We grabbed a couple slices for lunch and then headed to Coney Island. I wanted to come here at night when the lights would stand out the best, and also to pay homage to the Taylor Swift song and take a minute to sit on a bench there. It was fun to have a little bit of a carnival fair evening, and then the subway back gave us a beautiful view of the city. The next few days we were working remotely. We got some tasty sandwiches and New York cheesecake, then headed out to Chinatown. This ube boba float was really tasty, and the hand-pulled doodles were really good. Then we stopped by Waverly Place, shout out the Disney show, and went to Washington Square Park, since I love that scene in the movie August Rush. We walked to a bakery the next morning, and look at the gutter full of cigarette butts. So gross. We tried the steamer in the smart closet to get our shirts all nice, which worked pretty well. And we got some deli sandwiches for lunch. Then we headed to Broadway that night. We had tickets for Wicked, which was so amazing. The singers were all fantastic, and the production was great. It was kind of crazy how the streets were filthy all around the city, even next to the most famous spots. There was this crazy maintenance rig on the subway tracks, and we spotted this huge rat. We went to a different, super cute bakery the next morning, and then hailed a cab to go to the north side of Central Park. I really enjoyed driving through the city. It was a really pretty ride. We walked along the north side of the park for a while until we got to the reservoir, which was really cool, and then we ate our breakfast in the park. The food was delicious, and the rest of the park was quiet and peaceful. After we finished work for the day, we headed out to St. Patrick's Cathedral. It was pretty crazy to see such an old cathedral still in active service, but also as a tourist destination. The architecture and stained glass were beautiful. Then we headed to Times Square again. We walked by Radio City Music Hall, got some tasty ice cream, and checked out some buskers. After that, we went to Little Italy and had some delicious pasta. On our last day, we got bagels at a different restaurant, and I did end up preferring this location. The Liberty Bagel was really fun. That evening, we went to Grand Central Station, which looked pretty crazy and had so much cool architecture, as well as quite a few buskers. Then we headed out to a Yankees game. The energy in the crowd was crazy. We had all the classic baseball snacks, sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" with the crowd, and luckily in the final inning, the Yankees got a double to stop the no-hitter that almost happened. It was so packed on the subway back to the hotel, but it was a great last night in the city. The next morning, we headed to Philly since we had secured tickets to the Taylor Swift concert for that weekend. That morning, we headed to Independence Hall and took a tour of the building where the Declaration of Independence and Constitution were written. We also took a picture of the outside of the building as a reference to the movie National Treasure, since this building was an important clue. We stopped for a tasty Philly cheesesteak for lunch and then headed out to the stadium for the show. The Airs tour was amazing. It was so crazy, and there was so much energy in the crowd. Click the link to check out my full video for the concert. The next day we drove to Connecticut. The drive there was so pretty. Our hotel was being renovated, so it was a little ghetto, but fine. We stopped by a few small towns throughout the state to see the inspiration for Gilmore Girls. Took some pictures of the small town vibes, a gazebo, ate at Duke's Diner, grabbed breakfast at Luke's, and checked out Hartford. Then we headed to Salem, Massachusetts to check out the local sets for the Hocus Pocus movie. They had the Pioneer Village, Max's house, Allison's house, the cemetery, and we even tracked down a house that looked just like the Sanderson sisters. The whole town really leans into the witchy thing, which is fun. We also tried this tasty pizza restaurant. It was really good. After that, we headed to Maine to finish up the trip. We were mostly just working remotely for this part of the trip and then doing fun things in the evening. We had a pretty nice hotel suite really close to the ocean. We tried a few different taco places one night, got lots of pretty beach time, had yummy lobster rolls, checked out some lighthouses, went to the movies, had a crab boil, tried lobster chowder, and then tried a new Chinese restaurant. This trip was so fun. It was great to see all the iconic sights and try so many new things. Thanks for watching.